Welcome to the InforMaven AI Update, a podcast for higher education administrators to discuss the practical use of AI and intelligent agents. I'm JD Mosley-Matchett, the founder and CEO of InforMaven, a company that helps you work smarter by harnessing the power of intelligent agents. And this month, our guest is Dr. Will Miller, Associate Vice President for Continuous Improvement and Institutional Performance at Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University. What other AI-driven tools are transforming how institutions assess and improve their academic programs? Beyond generative AI, what other kinds of AI-driven tools are quietly transforming how institutions assess and improve their academic programs?
Yeah, and I mean this is the tough question. I mean, the Gen AI we talk so much about just because we use it, we can see it in our personal lives, our professional lives, and again, I'm as guilty as anybody. I mean, I use it a lot. I have about an hour drive to Embry-Riddle every day, and so much of my time is spent voice to text, just stream of conscious. I mean, conference presentations, JD, and I'll get to the non-gen AI, but conference presentations, it is somewhat non-gen AI. I can sit there and go voice to text or just do the audio file over an hour drive and talk through everything I think I want to say in a conference presentation. And I can get home and take that audio file, load it into GPT or Copilot and say, write a 200-word session description for this. Give me some learning outcomes. Give me an outline of what I've talked about shaped together. And then I can go into Gamma or PowerPoint with Copilot or any of these and say, can you take that and just give me the shell of a presentation so that I can start to tweak and think and work through? So those tools aren't Gen AI, but they're operating in similar ways. But, on the higher ed side, so much of this is in the student success side for me. What we can do with AI on the student success side, you look at companies like EdSites, and EdSites has been out for, 4 years or so, 5 years. They grew big during COVID. But with EdSites, they've used Vincent Tinto's framework, and they've built out, frameworks that institutions can use through, multi-directional texting. Well, not really multi-directional texting. It's one way to the student, but it's both proactive and reactive with the student by asking questions and then assigning risk scores. And they have great data that shows how, finding out that a student doesn't feel like they're able to engage academically. What does that do to retention? What's the intervention? What are the pieces that look? And for a lot of institutions, it seems to be incredibly confirmatory in some cases, which is also a positive thing. Confirmatory is not bad. They really have kind of 4 risk factors, and it probably won't surprise you, JD, but out of these 4 risk factors, if you think about academic risk, it doesn't really make a ton of difference where a student falls on academic risk and whether they retain or not. And part of the reason for that's because we have strong support systems built for academic risk. You're at risk academically, we have tutoring centers, we have advisors, we have faculty, we have all of these groups. Mental health and well-being doesn't have huge step-offs typically for retention, because as soon as you are, identified or self-identified as needing this help, we have, tons of resources we rush in with to help you. Financial well-being, not always huge step-offs. And again, this is generalizing, but not always huge step-offs. You say you're financially at risk, we get you to financial aid, we look for scholarship money, we try to make it work. Student engagement is the one where we struggle, and it's because when a student says they don't feel like they have friends or they don't feel like they fit in, we don't have that resource to send out. I mean, we have RAs if they live on campus, we have, affinity groups, but it's not the same as tutoring, scholarship money, mental health counseling. Now, the overall risk scores that EdSites generates, those step down beautifully. So if I'm an institution where my normal retention rate's, 75%, my low-risk students might be 85% retaining. My medium risk are 70, and my high risk are 52. And I know all of a sudden that these matter. But that type of AI, and whether it's EdSites or any of the other platforms that do similar work, doesn't really matter. But it also gives us new data points. One of the things that fascinates me the most looking at a lot of the research on this, a student who starts high risk and stays high risk at times is actually geared to be successful because they're just high risk individuals and they know this and this is their normal. It's like, yeah, I'm high risk on these things and I'm always going to be, and that's it is what it is. It's who I am. It's all fine. This is my normal. I'm very comfortable. But it might all of a sudden be able to start giving you, AI informed opinions on things like, this student was low risk 3 weeks ago, and now they're high risk. And that student's most likely in free fall. They've never been high risk before. This is terrifying. Everything's falling apart. So just being able to get into those nuanced pieces of what answers and what things matter from which students, which time, drives so much more information. The AI on the business process side too, and this is the part nobody likes to talk about because it's not sexy, it's not student related. But I mean, the things that we can do in terms of invoicing, payments, tuition remission, like all of these things can be AI informed in ways that they haven't been in the past. And again, we're freeing up time for those folks to look at processes and pain points and tripping hazards, all the things that drive us nuts on the non-backend side can now be looked at in a much more real sense, in a much more timely sense. And most importantly, with some real focus, as opposed to, that's number 10 on my to-do list today. And every day it ends up back to number 10 because it's forward thinking. So other things that are more urgent or, imminent end up replacing it every time, and it never makes its way up. And by the time it does, I'm like, my gosh, I just want to breathe. I don't want to do this forward thinking thing. This is so difficult. So I think it's important to recognize with the AI that we get really excited about the things on the front end that we can see and play with. But the back end side of so many of our tools, our ERPs, our student information systems, our CRMs, I mean, they have so much potential now that has gone beyond predictive modeling. And I think we have to recognize that too. It's like we're no longer talking about like what % chance is there that a student's going to enroll at our institution. Now we're getting more into what % chance do you want this student to be at? And then we will use the AI to auto-generate the messaging, the information, the needs, the financial aid packages that will deliver them to you at that predicted probability. And as they respond, we'll react in real time and continually alter as needed.
Please visit InforMaven.ai to hear the entire interview.